For 13 years, I lived under the shadow of a truth fabricated by Victoria, my supposed best friend. She had erected a psychological wall around me with a seemingly immutable rule. I could not, under any circumstances, sing in the presence of others. Her argument, always wrapped in a veneer of false protection, was that my voice was shrill, out of tune, and ultimately painful to the human ear. I, trapped in the blind loyalty of a childhood friendship, accepted her judgment as an absolute sentence, believing that her cruelty was actually a form of brutal honesty meant to save me from public ridicule. The conditioning began subtly in middle school, but it crystallized during a sleepover that marked my adolescence. As a ballad played on the radio and I allowed myself to whisper along, Victoria reacted as if she had been electrocuted. With a feigned gag, she turned off the music and gave me a look of profound pity. "Please, for the love of God, don't do it," she begged me, her voice heavy with drama. "I'm telling you this because I love you. It's really hard to hear. You don't have that gift. Accept your reality." Those words lodged themselves in my subconscious like a biological truth, extinguishing any impulse for artistic expression for years. Victoria's power dynamic fed on my insecurity. In college, when the group decided to go to karaoke, the mere fact that I held a pen near the song list triggered a preemptive panic attack in her. She snatched the pen from me with passive-aggressive force, claiming that she couldn't bear the weight of my humiliation, and that if I decided to go on stage, she would leave to avoid being associated with me. This emotional manipulation wasn't just about silencing me, but about isolating me. She needed me to be the opaque satellite orbiting her supposed brilliance, ensuring that there would never be a talent competition that could outshine her. The breaking point came when Victoria decided to exploit my vulnerability for entertainment. She recorded me without my consent while I was absent-mindedly singing in her car, a space I considered safe. Days later, at a crowded party, she played the recording for the audience, inciting widespread laughter as she faked a hug, presenting herself as the brave friend who was helping me see my limitations. This trauma plunged me into complete musical muteness. For months, silence was my only companion, convinced that my voice was a physical defect I should hide from the world forever. However, the healing began in therapy, where I understood that my silence wasn't a lack of talent, but a symptom of emotional abuse. Following medical advice, I sought refuge in a literary cafe on the opposite side of town, a place where Victoria's name carried no weight. The first open mic night was a nerve-wracking ordeal. My hands sweated, and my throat tightened with fear of judgment. But when my first performance ended, there was no laughter or pity, only a stunned silence followed by the owner's comment, "You have a purity that can't be taught. Come back anytime you like." For 2 years, I became Little Bird, a pseudonym that protected my identity from the toxicity of my surroundings while my confidence blossomed in the shadows. While I was building this secret life, Victoria was head over heels for a young man named Teodoro, a business student whose aura of mystery fascinated her. She complained that he disappeared every Thursday night, suspecting 1,000 intrigues, never imagining that Teodoro was, in reality, my most devoted follower at the cafe. He sat in the far corner, listening to every note I played with a devotion I never dared to claim as my own. For Victoria, Teodoro was a trophy to be won. For me, he was the anonymous witness to my true essence. The collision of these two worlds occurred at Victoria's birthday party, held on a luxurious rooftop. She, in her role as the director of my life, forced me to wear a loose dress to disguise my figure, and strictly forbade me from going near the sound equipment. When Teodoro entered, and his eyes met mine, Victoria's mask crumbled. He recognized me instantly, ignoring her attentions to greet me with genuine admiration that shocked everyone present. By revealing that he traveled across the city every week just to hear me sing, Victoria's web of lies was exposed to her own friends. The final confrontation was the culmination of a decade of oppression. When Victoria tried to discredit me one last time, calling my voice bad, in front of Teodoro, he not only confronted her about her cruelty, but handed me the microphone like a sword. Singing that night wasn't an act of vanity, but an act of exorcism. My voice filled the rooftop with a force Victoria could never contain, proving that her protection was nothing more than a cage designed to keep me from soaring higher than she could. In the end, I walked away with Teodoro, leaving behind a friendship that never truly was won and finally embracing the freedom of my own melody.